What's up, world? This is Yuri, aka Russian Prototype. Welcome to the live show number, I don't know, I think it's 48 or something around there. Today is Tuesday, September 21st, 2021. We have another exciting show in store. It's always exciting, right? If you watch my live show, that's what I always open with exciting because they are. Listen, tonight's show is how to make a date special. There are so many ways. My goal is to showcase actually five of them, five different principles of how to make it happen. And I hope that you will retain two to three. All right. So this is the goal for tonight. Let's just jump in. Let's just jump in. Well, before we do, let's see who's here. Let's greet our friends, the prototypes. Heather is here live with us. I'm finally not sleepy tonight. Good news. Good news. Good news. Felicia is here tonight. Long, hard day at work. I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you're here with us live. We have Becky in the house. Hello, Becky. Happy to see you. We have Ruby in the house, UK in the house. Hello, hello, hello. Great to see you. We have Jamie in the house. Hi, Jamie. Appreciate you. We have Cheyenne in the house. I felt that Felicia, I'm exhausted. Hope everyone has a good night. Well, listen, hopefully this will help you to relax, to connect with awesome community, to share your thoughts, and just have a good old time, okay? It looks like Cyan just joined as well. Hi, Cyan. Thank you for being here live with us. All right, let's just go ahead and jump in. In order for this to be fun, share your thoughts, ask questions, engage, interact. Um, Otherwise, I'm just going to be here by myself talking, and who needs that, right? So, principle number one, plan it out. This may sound like a common sense, but I think that's the reason why people get lazy, and that's the reason why people don't want to put in extra time to make their dates interesting, because it takes some planning, let's be honest. And what I think really interesting about planning process, it is not just about making a date interesting. It's about showing the initiative. It's about taking an interest to, to be leader, to take the reins, to make the necessary steps and arrangements in order for the date to go well, right? Because think about it, in order to plan something out, you have to research the date, not the date. You have to research the venue. You have to research, maybe reservations. You have to research when the venue is going to be open or closed. You have to see what kind of place is it. Is it inherently dangerous? You might have to make a couple of phone calls. It takes time, right? And so if you believe that in body languages, and one of the body language is quality time, right? So when you put in the time to research and to maximize the date, the potential of the date, you're the person that will be on the date with you should really appreciate the fact that you took that time, right? Also, what's really interesting about this point is that when you plan things out, you avoid the possibility of showing up somewhere and the restaurant being closed, or park being under renovation, or or the zoo is is being unavailable, whatever the case may be, right? You taking these extra steps to know exactly what you're doing, what time you're doing it, make sure that everything is going to be ready to go and available for your date. And that's important. That's really important. What else I want to say about this? It's it's also investing in quality time, right? I just mentioned that some people really big on spending good quality time together. Well, planning it planning it is investing in quality time, right? And if you're going to show somebody a good time on a date, that is investment that is well worth making. All right. Also, I would say when it comes to planning it out, you can make the date not just one date, but you can make these dates feel different. And I don't know if you agree, but I think that variety is really a spice of life. So if you always doing same thing over and over and over again, you're going to the same restaurants, or you're going to the same places, or you watch the movies all the time, whatever these activities are, it just becomes so repetitive all the time, right? So when you plan things out, you can actually take a chance. You can take a chance to do something that you've never done before, because now you have preparation on your side, right? And I think it works for both genders, by the way. I'm not referring to just men or women. I think that whether you're a woman planning a date or whether you're a man planning a date, these a lot of these things that I'm talking about will apply. And if you kind of have these thoughts, reservations about, oh my God, what should I do with that date, right? Planning it out is really going to play into your favor, because you can come up with something different that neither one of you done before, because variety is a spice of life. Let's get our community involved and see what people think about those points. Hey, thank you, Felicia. By the way, take a chance to plan an exciting date. All right, kind of like this jacket. I took a chance to wear this jacket, right? Unconventional, whatever. Take the same approach with your dates. Do something that you would not normally do. Make it interesting. We're going to talk about that in a moment, actually. Jamie said, "No one has ever planned a special date for me, but I have planned plenty of them." Well, maybe that Russian guy that you're going to see, I believe you said you're planning go this upcoming summer 2022. Maybe he better, not maybe, he better, because you're going to be visiting him. So he better to plan some dates for you. Kaya is in the house. Hello, hello. Thank you for being here. New Zealand is in the house. Awesome stuff. Becky said, when I plan things, they never know what I might do. Hey, sometimes it could be awesome. This could be a pleasant surprise, right? Felicia said, one of my exes did. It was nice though. He took me to an NBA final game, the Pistons versus Lakers. I love sports, and that was awesome. I saw Kobe Bryant up close. Wow, rest in peace to him. Yes, rest in peace, Kobe Bryant. That's amazing. That's amazing that he did that. That would be, if given that you like sports, that would be an amazing date to take to take you on. So props to him. Let's go on to the next one. Principle number 2, make your date memorable. Now listen, we touched on it a little bit yesterday, but one of the best ways to go about your date is to create an experience, right? Just like Felicia was saying a few moments ago, her ex took her to the NBA game. NBA game is an experience. It's not just a game, right? It's being around people, right? It's seeing some of the best athletes in the world playing basketball. It's seeing the halftime show. It's going to get hot dogs or whatever food they have, some drinks, right? So you're combining experiences, right? So it's not just a game, using this example, it's an experience. And so the question becomes, in order to make it memorable, how can you create an experience? Because experience is no longer just one thing. Experience is the combination of things that go into this date, right? It's the series of steps. So when you think of it as making it memorable, making it an experience, you know right away that, oh my God, if I really want to make it an experience, then I have to do A, B, C, and D, not just A. There are many steps to it, right? So to give you kind of an example, some of you may be thinking, well, what exactly an experience? Well, how many dates can you remember realistically? Out of the ones that you went to, how many of them can you remember? How many different, like, let's say you went to a restaurant, right? Many people just go to restaurant to get lunch or dinner. How many meals do you remember? What was so special about the meal that you remember? Was it because the food was really, really good? Was it because the conversation was really, really good? Was it because the restaurant is what was super unique, that where you ordered the food? Or was it because your date overall was just so amazing? The entire date was so amazing and it really stuck with you, right? So before you even start planning a date, ask yourself how many dates you can remember, what made them special, how can you replicate that experience? And what do you remember from these dates? What's some of these things that really stood out, right? Let's see what we have in the comments. Jamie said he did say something about that. I will post it on Instagram when I go. Well, not everything. You're referring to the Russian guy who will be taking you on the dates over there, I'm assuming, right? That should be fun. That should be really, really fun. All right, so that's number 2. That's principle number 2. Let's go to the next one, shall we? This next one is big one. Principle number 3, how to make a date special, is to be present. Now, look, I don't even have to tell you that people just get distracted. People sometimes in their own world, they don't even seem like they interested sometimes, especially that's a bad sign, especially when you start dating. If you on a date with someone who is checking his or her phone, not really listening to you, not paying attention, that is a bad date. And you know what? Our attention span becomes shorter and shorter and shorter because everything is instant gratification, right? Or at least the access to information is instant. I think we start operating as a society in a different mode now. I think we're becoming less human. I'm sorry to say, that's just my observation. You don't have to agree with that, but that's my observation. We're becoming less human. When I say less human, uh, human traits such as really being um, social creatures, thriving, being in other groups, really, um, what's the word I'm looking for? Thriving, being in other groups, but also being happy to communicate with other people one on one, really looking forward to the conversations, engaging fully in these conversations. We are slowly moving away from it because now we have the electronic devices that we can watch the video, we can socialize, we can send a text, we can send an audio message. And you know what? It's great on one hand, but on another hand, we are becoming, collectively speaking, and I feel like a lot of younger people especially going to be victims of that. We are becoming less social. We are going away from being more social. Why I'm saying all this is because if we becoming less social, we're losing these skills. We are no longer as skilled in terms of understand how to behave exactly when we out with other people, right? as we spend more time with our electronic devices, and especially pandemic doesn't help either, being more secluded from other people, right? That does not help. So we are in a situation where we need to be able to reignite those skills, remind ourselves of those skills. What is it like to leave your worries at the door when you're going on a date? And I repeat that this is an important point, right? This is not always easy to do because there's so many things on our mind on a daily basis that sometimes you may be on a date and you're going to continue to think about everything that you need to do, or all of the things that you need to take care of. Your responsibilities, the other word. But I guarantee you, if you're on a date and if you're thinking about these responsibilities, that's not the right time. You're not going to you're not going to have the best showing on this date for the other individual, right? So it's like training your mind. How can we be present? Leave your worries at your house. When you step out of this door, you're going on a date. You're going on a date. The objective is to be on a date. Just like I would hope that when you go to your work, objective is to take care of work. When you're coming back and you work out, objective is to work out. We might have to do another one of these shows dedicated to mindfulness, and that's something we certainly can do. Maybe mindfulness in relationships. I'm going to write it down because I think it's worth discussing. Mindfulness in relationships. I kind of like this. If you would like to hear more about this, if you would like to hear about mindfulness and being present, and if you think that that's worth having a separate show dedicated to that, give me hashtag mindfulness. Give me hashtag mindfulness in the comments, okay? Because I certainly think this could be a separate topic. But coming back to this, leave your worries at the door. Train your mind. Train your mind to be excited about this date, to be focused solely on what's going to happen at the date. All right? Your worry is still going to be there when you come back home, okay? They're not going to disappear. So you're going to get to them, right? The other thing is pay attention to your date. Pay attention to him, pay attention to her, because that is the reason why you go on a date. Hopefully, you don't go on a date to think about your worries or to talk about your worries. Hopefully, you go on a date so you can spend the time with that other individual, because that's the whole point of it, right? And so, when you do that, when you're paying attention to him or her, communicate clearly, especially if you are going on the first, second, third date. Communicate clearly and get to know the other person. I think that is always, not always, this is also one of those things that sometimes gets lost in translation. And I think I need to be doing sponsorship soon enough. If anybody knows Dr. D's sparkling probiotic, wonderful drink for your health. They need to contact me because I'm giving free advertisement over here. I was saying, especially if it's a first, second, or third date, get to know the person. Get to know the person. Like how I just don't think that sometimes is the purpose. Sometimes the purpose maybe is to get a meal or see, if there's possibility and get intimate with someone. So good. But get to know the person will go a long way. Long, long way. Let's see some comments, shall we? Let's see some comments. Jamie said, I always plan my dates around the person's interest that is important. That's thoughtful of you. That's thoughtful. Again, like if you're able to do that, you're one step ahead, especially if it's a new relationship, right? Felicia said, I hate when people plan a date and they are not paying you no attention. I threw something at the guy one time in a date and he left. He stayed on his damn phone. Dang. Not good. Not good. Not good. Look, another thing too, I know it's frustrating and you did what you did, but you can always, I feel like you can always walk away as well. You have that choice. So the dark side of it, right? The dark side of a date is that if it's getting to the point where it's like it's so unreasonable that the person just spends time on his phone. Sometimes you got to do what you got to do. Maybe he needs to learn a hard way. Jamie said, I say no to phones on dates. I had to tell my ex that all the time. Yeah, I think, it's only for emergencies. If you're on your phone, it defeats the purpose of the date. You can check your messages later, you know? Felicia said, now, since I have a child and a grandmother, I care for who is in hospice, but I let them know up front in case I need to take or make a call. Yeah, I mean, like I said, if there's extenuating circumstances, as long as it's being communicated, I think people will normally, typically understand that. Becky, to me, one of the most special dates was when they took me to a restaurant that had gluten-free things so I could have some variety. That had to take some searching and planning. Yes. So they did do a little bit of research in advance to make sure you are being taken care of. It's a good sign. Kai said, I keep my phone with me in response to my daughter. Everyone else can wait until I'm home. Nice. Mindfulness. Looks like a couple of you want to talk about that. That's good. That's good. That's encouraging. Thank you for your feedback. Maybe I can put a spin on it and really dive deeper into that conversation. Let's see. Becky said, after that, sometimes they would stop by there on the way home and bring me something so I wouldn't have to cook when I wasn't feeling well or had a rough week. That is great. That is great. I think it's, again, it just goes to show. It just goes to show when somebody is willing to bring you some food, it's like an extra step. Love it, love it, love it, love it. Let's continue on, shall we? We just talked about principle 3, be present. Principle number 4, when you go on dates and how to make a date special, is to have fun. Look, too many dates, it just feel bland. It feels boring, right? We talked about boredom yesterday. So what are the things that will constitute fun? Laughter, enjoyment, amusement, curiosity, perhaps. More enjoyment. Right? Interest. When you're on a date and when you feel relaxed and when you feel like you are truly enjoying the experience, it makes all the difference in the world. Some of the things that I mentioned will help with that a big deal. So laughing, for example, laughing breaks boundaries, right? So if there's some boundaries, right, if we kind of like unsure what the other person is about, it helps to connect the dots. It's like in this invisible connection that you build when you laugh, because laughing and humor is a powerful emotion. When you start laughing, you start seeing that you have things in common. You start seeing that maybe perhaps you're an easygoing person, or that you have like a way to again to connect with between. There's a certain type of connection that happens, I think, right? I'm kind of dancing around the connection point, but really that's what it is. And that then leads to enjoyment, and leads to enjoyment. If you ever try to watch like stand-up comedy with someone, if you enjoy stand-up comedy, doesn't matter who the comic is. I mean, as long as they decently funny, it's a good time. It's a really good time. I mean, like you get to see person's sense of humor. You get to see how open the person is. So self-conscious folks usually not going to laugh their heart out, right? They're going to try to be very reserved about it. Not necessarily self-conscious. I take it back. Maybe more reserved folks, not necessarily going to be laughing loud and and going to be very open about that. Whereas extroverts, right, they're going to let you have it. So you can actually learn about your date a great deal through those experiences as well. It's not just about having fun, but it's about trying to understand the personality traits of the other person. Having fun, I talked about enjoyment, right? Ultimately, I think if you enjoy your date in your company, then you're going to have a good experience. I think those two are connected. Enjoyment will lead to that, right? Um, and the opposite applies. If there's a lack of enjoyment, you probably will want to get out of there, or you're going to be bored. So how the question becomes, how can you maximize enjoyment? What are the things? So Becky mentioned, you know, um, something that they knew about, her date knew something about her, and then they took her to a place where she could get some gluten-free options, right? So those type of things, it all adds up. It's like little points. You do this thing well, point. You do that thing well, another point. You showed something that is interesting, another point. And then before you know it, you have a great date. And then you both having a blast on the date. So you don't have to think of having fun as a one big thing. You can break it down to smaller pieces. What are the smaller pieces of having fun actually mean? This thing is good. Let's see what people are saying. Felicia said, my kid sometimes sends nonsense messages when she knows I'm on a date or out with friends. She just be nosy. Or she's just messing with you. If you've seen my IG story, you know she's pretty as hell. Yeah, that's funny. Kai said, my kid wants me to date, so mostly doesn't message unless it's important. I think there's also, Kai's, yours is probably a little bit older than Felicia's, if my guess is correct. Because Felicia, your daughter is like 11. Correct me if I'm wrong, right? So she's still super young. Felicia Kayas, that's nice. My kid is territorial over me. She doesn't want me to get hurt like I did my last relationship. She wanted to fight my ex for making me cry. Yeah, yeah, kids will get protective. Yeah. Yep. That's what I thought. Yeah, kids will get protective and jealous for sure. So, that's a big consideration. Becky said sometimes doing something non-traditional can be most fun. Yeah, I think so. Jamie said surprise planned road trips are fantastic. I did one to wine country for a day trip. Yes, surprise dates are awesome. Awesome. I would do that as much as you can. Ivan C, привет, hello. Any tips on trying to date a Russian girl? We're both 19. um, yeah, there's a lot of things I could say about that, Ivan. Um, definitely, definitely open the doors. Oh, well, first question, I mean, is she actually lives in Russia currently? Um, if she's not living in Russia, how long she lived in Russia prior to moving to another country, right? So there's going to be, if you give me a little bit more information, I can kind of give you an idea. But generally speaking, my perception, if it's someone who lives in Russia right now or somebody with traditional Russian values, you definitely want to um, showcase the proper manners. So courtship's going to be important. Open the doors, flowers. Make sure that you, at least for first couple of times, paying for meals and things like that. There's just few pieces of advice there for you, kind of in traditional Russian way. Um, and then, I think a lot of Russian women like respectful men. I would say they like respectful men as well. Doesn't hurt if you have good money either. Well, that is a whole different topic, okay? But if you good financially, it's also would be good. It will play in your favor, But those things, I think, in terms of just making a good impression, would be very, very important. Quick team meeting back soon. Have a good meeting. Thank you. Yeah, I agree. I think road trips are very awesome. It's a lot of fun. Lots of fun. 100%. All right, let's go to number 4. Number 5. Whoa. Number 5. Principle number 5 to make a date a special experience is to show and tell. What I mean by that exactly? Sometimes we think things in our mind, but we don't say those things. Those things always end up being our thoughts and nothing else. I think that we need to show and tell our appreciation for someone on a date. What I mean by that, this is so much fun. Say it. I'm having a great time with you. Say it. See, what happens is when you actually say those things, you make someone feel appreciated, right? You make someone feel appreciated for their effort that they put in planning this date, or just acknowledging something that they did well on the date itself. And that, to me, I think everyone likes to be appreciated. Even if people don't tell you, I think that's just a human trait. I think if more of us appreciated it and showcased it, then I think in turn it would help a lot of relationships. But I guess sometimes people don't think about those things. I certainly think, like, speaking from a man perspective, um, I probably didn't do super good job acknowledging some of the things um, in the past. Now, I would always acknowledge, like, if my ex would cook for me, right? I would acknowledge that. I would always say, "Man, this is so good. Thank you so much." That type of thing. But I think a big thing with women and prototype family. Correct me if I'm wrong, but women like to hear compliments. So if if when you're going out with your girlfriend, or even maybe just with a woman, or with your wife, whatever whatever the your current status is, women like to hear that they look good, right? So even if you're going to communicate those things in advance or before the date, it's really going to be a good idea going into the date, right? If you've been asked, how do I look in this dress? Ladies, you can probably put some comments. If you ask a man, how do I look in this dress? What does man need to say? Does he need to say what he thinks, what he really thinks, or does he need to say something else, right? That's always a funny argument, I think, that people have. But so show and tell your appreciation. What does it really mean? It's really it's really acknowledging everything. It's acknowledging how someone looks and give him compliments, right? It's acknowledging when someone was thoughtful about planning the date, and that they put in effort, and so acknowledging their effort. Um, it's just showcasing how much fun you are having on this particular date. All those things are important, because I would I would not assume that someone else knows how you feel. In fact, I would actually assume that they don't know how you feel, and you want them to. You want them to know how you feel and show your appreciation. All right? So speak it, show it, show and tell your feelings, your appreciation, your acknowledgement for the other person. All right? Felicia with the super sticker, $10. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Your support means the world to me. Thank you very, very, very much. Let's see. We sure as hell do. What is this in regards to? Which one? I love to plan surprises. Yes, listen, I think surprises can be nerve wracking, but oh my God, when it's done well, when it's good, it's good. When it's good, it's good. You can't go wrong. Appreciation is what we like in every aspect of life, not just relationships. Agreed. I agree. But what I think, correct me if I'm wrong, what I think, people actually do a decent job at work acknowledging other people, right? But sometimes I don't know if it always translates into relationships. I think it's almost easier to take your relationships in dating for granted, if or somebody that we date for granted, because we don't pay for it, right? We don't get paid for it. We get paid for our job, so we'll look at job differently sometimes. Is it valid or not? Jamie said, yes, knowing the person you plan for appreciates the date is very nice. If you do, it helps a lot. It helps a lot because it opens up even more doors for you to plan even better date. Becky said, I think people are usually appreciative in the beginning and start taking it for granted after a while. Yeah, I think it does happen. I think it does. And is it human nature? I think it's part of a human nature, right? We get used to things. We get used to things. And, but then we realize once something is gone, it's what they call a rude awakening, a very rude awakening, because you realize, hey, this person is gone and I had a good thing and I messed up a good thing. So blessed are those who can see that, who can foresee that, and who can put in work to avoid losing someone, right? And I think ultimately it comes down to two people working together, right? I still want to believe it exists. I still want to believe that we live in a society where real real feelings are possible, and I mean real love definitely possible. But real love comes in so many different shapes and forms, right? There's no doubt that the world has love. I think what we're seeing nowadays, it's getting harder and harder to find real love between man and a woman because there's just so much that goes into it. At least I think it still exists. I think those, you know, pure relationships are possible. I think it does take some time to find, though. Felicia said, women like to be appreciated. Yes, I think I already read that one. Sorry. Becky, if a man doesn't offer a compliment without me asking what he thinks, then I start wondering if something is wrong. Like, does my dress make me look fat? And are they being polite, not saying anything? Interesting point. Interesting point. So it just goes to show, it goes to show that, I heard that expression that women love with their ears, right? That when women hear compliments and when women hear appreciation, it is really, really help them, you know? It's making them, putting them at ease and make them happy, so to speak. Felicia said, yes, that's very true. And then they realized later on, sorry, sir, but I don't want you anymore. Felicia is just going savage mode. Sorry, sir, I don't want you anymore. Goodbye. I like the honesty. That's great. Sorry, ladies, I'm practicing drawing and checking the chat often, so my hands are tied. Do your thing. We're glad you're here in any shape or form. My friends, that's it. That's all I really had for you tonight. Those 5 points. Let's just do a quick recap. Principle number 1, plan it out. Make sure to spend a little bit of time prior to the date to make the date possible. It will be appreciated. Principle number 2, make it memorable. Don't just go to eat to the same restaurant over and over again and do the same thing over and over again. Do something that will stick in your memory, or stay in your memory is a better word, right? For a while. Something that you can tell a story about. How about that? If you can't tell a story about the date, think twice. Principle number 3, be present. Don't think about nothing else. Everything else can wait for that hour, 2 hours, whatever that day duration is. When you're present in the moment, your experience is going to be much, much richer for both people. Principle 4, have fun. There is no way around it. Enjoy it. Have fun. Find the point of connection. and just run with it. If it's humor, laugh. If it's conversation, connect. If it's nature, go out in the nature and observe it. Whatever that is, find it. Have fun. Principle number 5, show and tell. Don't assume that other person knows how you feel. Tell them how you feel. If they have a nice, if she has a nice dress on, be sure to tell her. If he planned a good date and you appreciate that effort, be sure to tell him. If you both having a good time at the date, tell each other, I'm having a good time with you. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. And we have Estrella in the house as well joining. Thank you for being here live with us. I just went through the 5 principles to make your date special. That was so much fun. That was so much fun. Tomorrow, we're going to talk about mindfulness and relationships. I don't know if it's going to be titled like this, but we're going to dive in deeper into this aspect of things. What does it mean to be mindful? How does it, what are the signs? How can it impact a relationship? This is going to be a very good conversation because there's a lot to be said about mindfulness. Mindfulness is going to, and listen, I think we as a society, we're on a sort of a up like an upward trajectory in terms of mental health. There's a lot of conversations happening dedicated to that. And one of the huge components of mental health is being present in general, being present with whatever it is that you're doing. And we can have a broad, I think I want to approach it from a broad standpoint and talk a little bit about mindfulness, but then make it relevant to relationships and what does it mean in terms of relationships. I'm looking forward to it. I'm really looking forward to it. We're going to do it tomorrow, 9 p.m. Eastern. We're going to talk about that. Again, any of you who are interested to join the conversation live, please reach out to me on Instagram at Russian Prototype or on Twitter, Ruski Prototype. You can see both handles. Where is this corner? Right there. Boom. Right there. So you can reach out and you can get on the show. Becky said, I think something that is almost as bad as the phone thing is when it's supposed to be couple time and they invite other on what's supposed to be date night. Yeah, especially if that's done without agreeing or communicating in advance beforehand with your significant other. So I guess not all the surprises are pleasant in nature. This would be an unpleasant surprise. Or this could be just the fact that people are not on the same page. Maybe she thought it would be a good idea to invite their friends, but he wanted to spend time together, or vice versa, right? Sometimes it could be just miscommunication, you know? This is a good example for sure. My friends, Prototypes fam, before we get out of here, put that hashtag Prototypes fam in the chat. Prototypes fam. We're going to acknowledge folks who've been here and engaged. We have Jamie in the house. I'm wondering if you're driving tonight. You've been driving quite a bit during this time. Hopefully you're not driving and texting. Thank you for being here. Becky in the house. Appreciate the thoughts. Lots of good comments. Lots of good information. We have Estrella in the house. Thank you for joining and hanging out with us live. We have Heather in the house drawing a lurker tonight. Sounds like a ghost watcher. Did you smash a like button by chance? By the way, did you smash a like button? I haven't been checking my numbers recently. Maybe it's worth to see what's going on. Maybe it's worth to see what's happening. If people actually liking the shows. Oh, 10 likes. Yeah. And not so people came in, left and left a like. That's cool. Listen, people getting nicer. I appreciate that. Hopefully, Heather, you smashed the like button too. We have Felicia in the house, not only watching, but also supporting. Speaking of which, prototypes, I want to mention something to you. Whoops, that's the wrong one. Um, I want to mention the fact that all of the support provided to this channel is going to be put back into the channel. Every single cent, every single dollar will be utilized to enhance the channel, the content, the equipment. And there's just a couple ways you can do that. You can go through paypal.me/Russian prototype, or you can click on the dollar sign underneath this chat, just like Felicia did, in support. And I really, really, really appreciate this great support because it really helps the channel a ton. Little, even with little things, to grow one thing at a time. One day, one little piece of equipment, one improvement with content. It's a lot of fun. I appreciate you being here. Did I forget anyone? Let's just go through it real quick. Ruby is here as well. Appreciate you being here with us live. Already talked about, I think, everybody else. I already mentioned. If I didn't mention, give me a nudge. I think everybody else are good. I love these hashtags. I love, love, love these hashtags. And it's cool. What's really cool to see also is that this thing takes on a life of its own now, because we have community members who, Heather here, creating Zoom rooms and learning Russian language with other community members, connecting, with other prototypes. And that's super encouraging to see. It's so exciting. It's so exciting to see like different branches that happens as a result of this. So wonderful stuff. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. You smashed and smoked a cig afterwards. What does smoke has to do with anything? Oh my god. Strong ballerina is in the house as well, making an appearance. Dobre noche, mindful prototype family. Are you being a ghost watcher tonight, ghost ballerina? I didn't mean to say ghost ballerina. I meant to say strong ballerina, because you had a little emoji of the ghost. Dobre noches means midnight in Russian. Thank you for stopping by. Much love to you. Much, much loved. All right. This was this was a lot of fun. Hashtag smash the like button. Oh my God. Yes. 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 Tomorrow. Well, before tomorrow. Thank you for being here tonight. Thank you for engaging, for sharing your thoughts, and engaging with the community. Tomorrow, I'm going to see you at 9 p.m. Eastern time, and we're going to talk about mindfulness in the relationship or relationships. Hashtag prototypes fam. Have an amazing Wednesday. It is a hump day. We got to get over the hump tomorrow, and we will. Be happy, be healthy, be loving, be joyful. Most importantly, be what? Grateful. You already know. Prototype is out. Russian prototype, that is. Good night.